The deep hum of the Horizon's engines filled the bridge as Captain James Walker stared at the holographic display before him. The exploration vessel had been mapping the outer reaches of human space for the past 3 months, far from any regular trading routes. His crew of 30 was the best Earth could offer, though the Stellar Confederation would probably disagree. The quiet of the night shift broke when the communications console lit up with urgent red warnings. Lisa, the young communications officer, sat up straight in her chair. Her fingers moved quickly across the holographic controls as she tried to clean up the incoming signal. "Captain, we're picking up an SOS," she called out, her voice cutting through the usual bridge sounds. "It's weak, but it's definitely a distress call." Walker moved to her station, his steps slightly heavier than they would have been in Earth's gravity. Even with the ship's artificial gravity set to 0.8 grams to save power, his muscular frame moved with practiced ease. "Source?" he asked, leaning over her shoulder. "Sir, it's—" Lisa paused, double-checking her readings. "It's a Confederation merchant vessel, the SS Starweaver." The bridge grew quiet. Everyone knew about the Stellar Confederation, the alliance of 23 spacefaring species who had rejected Earth's membership application just 2 years ago. They had called humans too unpredictable, too aggressive, and too adapted to extreme conditions. In other words, they feared the Deathworlders. Walker scratched his beard, a habit he had picked up during long space journeys. "Play it," he ordered. A scratchy voice filled the bridge, speaking in standard Confederation trade language. "Emergency. This is the SS Starweaver. We are under attack. Pirates have boarded. They've taken control of the lower decks. Many hurt. Need immediate assistance. Our coordinates are—" The message repeated, and Walker could hear the fear in the alien voice. He recognized the slight chirping accent of a Villarin, one of the avian species from a low-gravity world. "How far?" Walker asked his navigation officer, Mark. Mark's fingers danced across his console. 2 hours at maximum safe speed, sir. We're the closest ship to their position." He paused, then added, "But sir, they're well inside Confederation space. We don't have jurisdiction there." Walker nodded slowly. The Horizon was an exploration vessel, not a warship. They carried standard defense weapons and had a small security team, but their primary mission was scientific research. Plus, entering Confederation space without permission could cause a diplomatic incident. "Get me the sensor readings of the area," Walker ordered. As the data appeared on the main screen, he studied it carefully. The Starweaver was alone, and the nearest Confederation patrol was at least 12 hours away. If the pirates were who he suspected, the notorious Shadowclaw Syndicate, the merchant crew wouldn't last that long. He pressed the ship-wide communication button. "All hands, this is the captain speaking. We've received a distress signal from a Confederation vessel under pirate attack. I know our history with the Confederation is complicated, but there are people in danger, and we're the only ones close enough to help." Walker paused, looking around at his bridge crew. Each face showed the same determination he felt. "We're going to answer their call. Security team, report to briefing room 2. Engineering, I need maximum safe speed. Medical, prepare for possible casualties. This is what we do, people. We help those in need, regardless of their politics." Walker out. As the Horizon changed course, its engines powering up to full speed, Walker pulled up the ship's specifications. The Starweaver was a standard Confederation merchant vessel, designed for species from low-gravity worlds. Its corridors would be wider, its ceilings higher, and its artificial gravity set to Confederation standard, about 0.7 grams. Maria Torres, the ship's security chief, entered the bridge. She was already in her tactical gear, her dark eyes alert and focused. "Your orders, Captain. Prepare your team for low-gravity combat. We'll need to be careful. Their ships aren't built for our weight class." Walker's lips curved in a slight smile. "Let's show the Confederation what Deathworlders do best." Protect those who need help. The Horizon surged forward through space, its human crew preparing for a rescue mission that would change the galaxy's perception of their species. None of them knew it yet, but answering this simple distress call would set in motion events that would reshape interstellar politics forever. In the darkness of space, the Horizon's engines glowed brighter as it raced toward its destination, carrying its crew of determined Deathworlders to answer a cry for help from those who had once rejected them. The briefing room felt cramped with 20 crew members packed inside. Captain Walker stood at the front, the holographic display behind him showing the Starweaver's schematics. The merchant ship's layout spread across the screen in blue lines, looking delicate compared to the sturdy design of human vessels. "Here's what we know," Walker began, his voice firm. "The Starweaver carries a crew of 45, mostly Villarin and Nexus traders. They're transporting medical supplies to the outer colonies." He pointed to the cargo holds on the display. "Pirates have control of the lower decks. Based on their attack pattern and location, we believe it's the Shadowclaw Syndicate." Maria Torres stepped forward, her tactical gear making soft sounds in the quiet room. "The Syndicate has never dealt with humans before. They target what they call soft species, creatures from low-gravity worlds." She tapped the display, bringing up images of previous Syndicate attacks. "They're used to overwhelming force against weaker opponents. They won't expect us." Tom Reed, the chief engineer, raised his hand. His work clothes were stained with engine grease, showing he'd come straight from his station. "What about their artificial gravity systems? Most Confederation ships run at 0.7 standard. We could use that to our advantage." Walker nodded. "Good thinking, Tom. At 0.7 gravity, our natural strength will give us an edge. But remember, we're not here to start a war. This is a rescue mission." The medical officer, Dr. Wilson, spoke next. His gray hair and steady hands had seen countless emergencies. "We should expect injured civilians. The Villarin have hollow bones. They break easily under stress. The Nexus are even more fragile. Their crystalline body structure shatters under impacts we barely notice." The room grew quiet as everyone processed this information. They all knew the risks. Entering Confederation space unauthorized could end their careers. If they failed, it might worsen relations between Earth and the Confederation. But no one suggested turning back. "I've divided us into 3 teams," Torres announced, pulling up the tactical display. "Alpha Team will secure the engine room. Beta Team handles the bridge. Gamma Team, led by me, will free the hostages in the cargo hold." She looked at each crew member. "Remember your low-gravity training. No heavy weapons. We can't risk hull breaches." Walker watched his crew studying the plans. These weren't soldiers. They were scientists, explorers, and engineers. But they were humans, born on a world that most species considered a death trap. Earth's gravity, weather, and wildlife had shaped them into something the galaxy feared. Now those same traits would help them save lives. "Sir," Lisa called from the doorway, "the Starweaver's signal is getting weaker. They're trying to contact us." Walker hurried to the bridge, the crew following behind. On the main screen, a fuzzy image appeared. A Villarin captain, his feathered crest flat with fear, looked out at them. His beak clicked nervously as he spoke. "Unknown vessel, please. Please respond. The pirates, they're hurting my crew. They want our medical supplies, but these medicines are for sick children in the colonies." The Villarin's large eyes blinked rapidly. "I know you're not Confederation, but..." "This is Captain James Walker of the Earth exploration vessel Horizon," Walker interrupted, his voice steady. "We received your distress call, and we're here to help." The Villarin captain's crest rose slightly in surprise. "Earth? But you're Deathworlders." "The Confederation." "Doesn't matter right now," Walker said firmly. "We'll discuss politics after your crew is safe. Prepare for our arrival in 30 minutes. Horizon out." As the screen went dark, Walker turned to his crew. They stood ready, their faces showing determination rather than fear. They might not be warriors, but they were humans. Deathworlders who had conquered their own world against impossible odds. Now they would use those same survival instincts to save others. "To your stations," Walker ordered. "Let's show the galaxy what Earth's children can do." The crew dispersed quickly, each person knowing their role in the rescue plan. In less than an hour, they would either prove humanity's worth to the galaxy or create a diplomatic disaster. But as Walker watched his people prepare, he knew they'd made the right choice. Sometimes, being human meant ignoring the rules to do what was right. The Horizon glided silently through space, its engines powered down to avoid detection. Through the main viewport, the Starweaver grew larger, a sleek vessel with smooth lines typical of Confederation design. Unlike the sturdy, angular shapes of human ships, it looked almost delicate. "Multiple life signs detected," Mark reported from his station. "I'm reading 38 Confederation citizens in the cargo hold. The pirates are concentrated on the bridge and engineering sections." He paused, studying his readings. "Sir, there's something odd about their weapon signatures." Walker moved to look at the sensor display. "Explain." "They're using neural stunners, designed for low-gravity species, the kind that would knock out a Villarin or Nexus instantly." Mark looked up at his captain. "But against human nervous systems, they'll feel like a mild shock." Torres finished, checking her equipment one last time. Her team stood ready in the airlock, dressed in light combat gear. They carried simple weapons, stun buttons and restraints. In the lower gravity, anything more would risk damaging the ship's hull. The Horizon's communications crackled to life. A harsh voice filled the bridge. "Unknown vessel, this is Captain Vex of the Shadowclaw Syndicate. You have entered a restricted area. Leave now, or we will consider this an act of aggression." Walker signaled Lisa to open a channel. "This is Captain Walker of the Earth vessel Horizon. Release your hostages, and we can discuss terms." Laughter echoed through the speakers. "Earth? The Death World." More laughter followed. "Someone made a mistake in your classification. No species from a high-gravity world could build spaceships. Leave now, soft ones, before you get hurt." Walker muted the channel and turned to Torres. "Ready?" She nodded, her team already moving into position. Tom's hacked their gravity controls. "On your signal, we go." Walker reopened the channel. "Captain Vex, this is your last warning. Release the hostages." "Or what?" Vex sneered. "Your ship's design is registered as an exploration vessel. You have no weapons that cold." Walker cut the transmission. "Tom, now." In the Starweaver's engineering section, Tom's virus activated. The ship's artificial gravity fluctuated wildly before settling at Earth standard, 1 gram. Through the viewport, they watched as shapes tumbled inside the pirate vessel, its crew suddenly struggling with weight they'd never experienced before. "All teams go," Torres commanded. The rescue operation began with precision, using the maintenance tubes that the larger, low-gravity evolved pirates found too cramped. The human teams infiltrated the Starweaver. Their bodies, evolved to handle crushing gravity and harsh conditions, moved with ease even in their heaviest gear. Through the Horizon's sensors, Walker watched his crew split up. In engineering, Alpha Team found the pirate engineers collapsed under their own weight, struggling to move in the increased gravity. The humans secured them easily, their Earth-evolved muscles untroubled by the conditions. Beta Team reached the bridge, where the pirate leaders had managed to stay standing, but their movements were slow and clumsy. When they tried to fight, their neural stunners sparked harmlessly against human skin, drawing shocked gasps from the pirates. In the cargo hold, Torres and Gamma Team found the hostages huddled together. The Villarin crew's feathers were flattened in terror, while the crystalline Nexus had drawn themselves into tight, defensive formations. 2 pirates guarded them, but in the Earth-normal gravity, they could barely lift their weapons. "It's okay," Torres said softly to the hostages, holding up empty hands. "We're from Earth. We're here to help." A young Villarin looked up, his crest rising slightly. "Earth, But you're walking normally. The gravity is what we were born in. Torres smiled as her team quickly subdued the struggling pirates. The humans moved efficiently, their bodies functioning perfectly in conditions that left their opponents helpless. On the bridge, Walker received Torres's all-clear signal. In less than 15 minutes, his crew had captured 12 pirates and secured the ship, all without firing a single shot. The Confederation members watched in awe as the humans helped them up, moving easily in gravity that had completely incapacitated their captors. "Captain," Lisa called out, her voice urgent. 3 Confederation patrol ships just dropped out of faster-than-light travel. They're demanding to know what's happening. Walker smiled slightly. "Tell them Earth answered a call for help, and remind them that sometimes being from a death world comes in handy." The Confederation patrol ships hung in space like gleaming arrows, their weapons systems powered up but not targeting. Through the viewport, Walker watched as their communication officer struggled to make sense of the situation. A human ship, deep in Confederation space, had somehow subdued a notorious pirate group that had been terrorizing their shipping lanes for months. "Sir," Lisa called from her station, "the Confederation commander wants to board and assess the situation." Walker nodded. "Tell them they're welcome aboard the Starweaver, but warn them about the gravity settings." He turned to Torres. "Keep the gravity at Earth normal until we've secured the pirates in their holding cells. We don't want any surprises." Inside the Starweaver, Tom worked quickly at the engineering console, his fingers dancing across alien controls. The pirates had damaged several key systems during their attack, but the basic engineering principles were universal. These ships weren't built for sustained Earth gravity, he muttered into his comm. "We've got about 2 hours before the artificial gravity system burns out." Torres's voice crackled back. "That's all we need. The pirates are secure in the cargo hold. They're not going anywhere in this gravity." The Confederation boarding party arrived in their own gravity-assisted suits, bulky things that looked more like small mechs than spacesuits. Walker met them in the Starweaver's main airlock, standing easily in the gravity that made their suits struggle. The lead officer, a tall Nexus whose crystalline form sparkled even through the suit's viewport, spoke first. "Captain Walker, I am Commander Bright Crystal. We appreciate your assistance, but you must understand this is highly irregular." Walker gestured to the corridor. "Walk with me, Commander. I'll show you what we found." As they moved through the ship, Walker explained how his crew had used the pirates' own assumptions against them. The maintenance shafts, considered too cramped and uncomfortable for the larger, low-gravity species, had given the humans perfect infiltration routes. The neural stunners, calibrated for more delicate nervous systems, had barely tickled human skin. They reached the cargo hold, where the captured pirates sat or lay on the floor, their bodies struggling with Earth's gravity. The Confederation security team stared in amazement as Torres and her people moved around freely, checking restraints and helping the former hostages. "Impossible," one of the suited officers whispered. "You're moving in high gravity without assistance." A young human engineer named Rachel was showing a fascinated group of Villarin crew members how to bypass the damaged door controls. Her hands worked steadily with tools designed for larger fingers, adapting naturally to the alien equipment. "This is why we came," Walker explained to Commander Bright Crystal. "Not to show off, but because we could help. Because what's normal for us gave us an advantage that saved lives today." The commander's crystalline form shifted colors, a sign of deep thought among the Nexus. "The Confederation Council. They feared your adaptations made you too dangerous, but today those same traits made us perfect for a rescue mission," Walker finished. "Sometimes being dangerous isn't about intent, it's about capability. We can use our strength to protect as easily as to harm." A commotion near the holding cells drew their attention. One of the pirates, larger than the others, had managed to stand despite the gravity. He lunged for a fallen neural stunner, his movements sluggish but determined. Before the Confederation officers could react in their cumbersome suits, Torres simply walked over, her movements swift and sure in the gravity that drained their power cells, and lifted the pirate off his feet with one hand. "That's enough," she said calmly, taking the weapon and setting him back down. The pirate collapsed, staring at her with a mixture of fear and disbelief. Commander Bright Crystal's color shifted to bright blue. Amazement. "Your crew, you make it look so easy." "Because for us, it is," Walker said simply. "Earth shaped us to be strong, to endure. Today, we use those gifts to help others. That's what we've been trying to tell the Confederation all along." The commander nodded slowly. Perhaps it is time for the Council to reconsider their position. But first, we need to secure these pirates and help repair this vessel." Walker smiled. "Well, Commander, you're in luck. Turns out humans are pretty good at repairs too, especially in what you call high gravity." Dr. Wilson worked steadily in the Starweaver's medical bay, his movements careful but confident as he treated the injured Villarin crew members. The pirates had been rough with their hostages, not understanding how easily they could damage the light gravity species. Around him, the Confederation medical staff watched in amazement as he lifted equipment that usually needed two of their strongest orderlies to move. "Your bone density," one of the Villarin doctors said, his crest rising in curiosity. "It must be incredible to move so easily in this gravity." Wilson smiled as he set a broken wing. "On Earth, we'd consider this normal. Our children play in stronger gravity than this." In the cargo hold, the captured pirates were learning similar lessons. The leader of the Shadowclaw Syndicate, Captain Vex, watched with wide eyes as Torres casually carried a storage crate that his strongest crew member couldn't lift in the Earth normal gravity. "We thought the stories about Deathworlders were myths," Vex said, his voice hoarse. "Tales to scare children. No real species could survive daily life in such conditions." Torres set down the crate and looked at him. "The gravity that's crushing you right now. On Earth, we call that a lovely spring day. Some of us go mountain climbing for fun in even stronger gravity." A pirate captain's face paled. "The neural stunners. They should have knocked you unconscious." "Tickled a bit," Torres shrugged. "When you evolve on a world where half the plants and animals can kill you, you develop some resistance to nerve toxins." In engineering, Tom and Rachel continued their repairs. They'd managed to stabilize the gravity systems, but the Starweaver would need major overhauls at a proper dock. The Confederation engineers watched them work, taking notes as the humans easily reached maintenance panels that they usually needed special tools to access. "Your muscles," one of the engineers commented. "They must be incredibly dense to work like this." Rachel nodded, deep in the ship's systems. "Sure are. But it's not just muscles. Our hearts are stronger. Our bones are thicker. Even our skin is tougher. Had to be, to survive Earth." On the bridge, Walker and Commander Bright Crystal reviewed the sensor logs from the rescue operation. The footage showed humans moving through maintenance shafts that the Confederation considered too cramped for emergency access, lifting debris that usually required mechanical assistance, and shrugging off weapons designed to incapacitate most sentient species. "Look here," Walker pointed to a screen showing Torres's team moving through the ship. "What you consider combat speed, we consider a careful walk. Your pirates were moving in slow motion compared to us, even before we adjusted the gravity." The commander's crystalline form shimmered with complex emotions. "When the Council rejected Earth's membership, they said your physical capabilities made you too dangerous to trust. They feared you would dominate our species. Instead," Walker gestured around the ship, "we used those same capabilities to save your people. Strength isn't good or evil, Commander. It's how you use it that matters." A young Nexus crew member approached them, their crystalline form glowing with excitement. "Captain Walker, we found something in the ship's security feeds. During the rescue, the humans, they were holding back, weren't they?" Walker nodded slowly. "We had to. Your ship isn't built for our full strength. If we'd used maximum effort, we might have damaged critical systems. The revelation spread through the ship quickly. The humans hadn't just overcome the pirates. They'd done it while carefully controlling their natural abilities to avoid harming the ship or its crew. The very traits that had made the Confederation fear humanity had been essential to saving their people. In the medical bay, a young Villarin child, who had been hiding in the cargo hold during the attack, approached Dr. Wilson. "Is it true?" she asked, her feathers quivering with curiosity. "Do human children really play in gravity stronger than this?" Wilson smiled gently. "Would you like to see some pictures of Earth's playgrounds?" The child's eyes widened as he showed her images of human children swinging, climbing, and running in Earth's gravity. Around them, Confederation crew members gathered, seeing their feared Deathworld through new eyes, not as a place of horror, but as the cradle of a species whose strength could protect as well as prevail. 3 days after the rescue, the Horizons crew gathered in their mess hall, watching the Confederation news broadcasts on the main screen. The rescue had become the biggest story across Confederation space. Security footage from the Starweaver played on every channel, showing humans performing what they considered normal actions, but what looked like incredible feats to the rest of the galaxy. "Look at that," Tom laughed, pointing at a clip of him casually lifting a fallen support beam. "They've played that one about 50 times now. It wasn't even that heavy." Lisa, who was monitoring communications, shook her head in amazement. "The Confederation information networks are going crazy. Our inbox is flooded with messages. Half the galaxy wants to know more about Earth." On the screen, a Nexus news anchor was analyzing footage of Torres's team moving through the ship. "As we can see, the humans navigate in high-gravity conditions without any assistance. Sources say this is actually below their normal gravity levels. Medical experts are still debating how such evolution is possible." Walker watched as the broadcast showed different angles of the rescue. The Confederation media had added gravity measurements to the footage, highlighting how the humans moved normally in conditions that left other species helpless. One clip showed Rachel reaching into a maintenance shaft that the commentators claimed was impossibly cramped for any sentient species. "Captain," Maria called from her station. "The Starweaver's crew just released their personal recordings of the rescue. You might want to see this." The screen switched to shaky footage taken by one of the Villarin engineers during the rescue. It showed the moment when Torres's team first entered the cargo hold. The pirates' neural stunners sparked harmlessly against human skin, and the rescuers moved with casual ease in the gravity that had the pirates pinned down. But what caught everyone's attention was the audio. The Villarin engineer was whispering in his native language, translating roughly to, "The stories were true. The Deathworlders are real, and they came to save us." "Sir," Lisa interrupted, "incoming transmission from Earth Command. Priority 1. Walker moved to the communications station. The face of Admiral Roberts appeared on the screen, looking both pleased and concerned. "Captain Walker, it seems you've caused quite a stir." "Sir, we were responding to a distress call." "At ease, Captain," the Admiral held up a hand. "You did exactly what you should have done. But you should know, the Confederation Council has called an emergency session. Your rescue operation has forced them to reconsider their stance on Earth's membership." As if to prove his point, another news broadcast began playing on the second screen. A Villarin child, the same one Dr. Wilson had shown the Earth pictures to, was being interviewed. She held up a drawing she'd made of the human rescue team. "They were so strong," she chirped excitedly. "But they were gentle too. Did you know they have special places on Earth where children play in high gravity? They call them playgrounds." The mess hall erupted in laughter at the pure wonder in her voice. What seemed ordinary to them was revolutionary to the rest of the galaxy. "There's more," the Admiral continued. "The Shadowclaw Syndicate's reputation is destroyed. No one's afraid of pirates who can be defeated by normal human gravity. 3 other pirate groups have already surrendered to Confederation patrols rather than risk encountering human ships." Walker smiled. "So our little rescue mission may have solved the Confederation's piracy problem overnight," the Admiral finished. Not bad for an exploration vessel. Oh, and Captain. The Confederation Trade Guild has requested human security teams for their merchant ships. Seems they think having a few Deathworlders aboard might discourage future attacks. As the Admiral signed off, Walker looked around at his crew. They had set out to explore the galaxy, but instead they had changed it. Their simple act of helping others had shown the Confederation that being strong didn't mean being dangerous. It meant having the power to protect those who needed help. Well, Torres grinned, watching another replay of their rescue. I guess the galaxy finally learned why you don't mess with Deathworlders. No, Walker corrected her gently. They learned why you should be glad to have Deathworlders on your side. 2 weeks after the rescue, the Horizon approached Earth's orbital station. The ship didn't return alone. 3 Confederation diplomatic vessels accompanied it, their sleek forms drawing curious looks from the station's crew. But the most surprising sight was the Starweaver, now repaired and upgraded with human-compatible systems, flying proudly alongside them. Home sweet home, Walker said, watching Earth grow larger in the viewport. Gravity back to normal. Everyone. As the ship's artificial gravity increased to Earth standard, the Confederation diplomats in their assistance suits stumbled slightly. They had insisted on experiencing true Earth gravity, despite warnings from their medical teams. Their determination to understand humanity had overcome their natural caution. Amazing, breathed the lead diplomat, a Villarin named Swiftwing. And your children grow up in this. Try telling a human child they can't go to the playground because the gravity's too high. Torres laughed. You'd have better luck stopping a star from shining. The station's main docking bay was packed with reporters from both Earth and the Confederation. As the crews disembarked, cameras flashed, and questions flew. But the real story wasn't just about the rescue anymore. It was about what came after. Commander Bright Crystal stepped forward, their crystalline form gleaming under the station's lights. The Confederation Council has voted, they announced to the assembled crowd. Earth's membership application has been approved. But more than that, we are establishing a new division within our peacekeeping forces, the Joint Species Protection Unit. Walker raised an eyebrow. This was news to him. This unit, Bright Crystal continued, will be staffed by both human and Confederation personnel. Humans will serve as primary response teams for high-risk situations, while Confederation members will provide technical and diplomatic support. The Horizon's crew has shown us that what we once feared as dangerous can be our greatest protection. Tom nudged Walker. Does this mean we're not an exploration vessel anymore? On the contrary, Swiftwing interrupted, having overheard. Your ship will be the first of a new class, Deathworlder exploration and response vessels, built to human specifications but equipped to support all species. The perfect combination of strength and science. The young Villarin child from the Starweaver, now something of a celebrity in Confederation space, darted forward to hug Dr. Wilson's legs. Her parents watched nervously, still amazed at how humans could be so strong yet gentle. Will you teach me about Earth animals? She chirped. I want to know about all the creatures from your world. Wilson laughed. Well, let me tell you about something we call a house cat. Looks harmless, but it's actually a tiny predator that we keep as pets. The gathered Confederation representatives looked shocked at the idea of keeping predators as companions, but the child's eyes widened with delight. Later, in the station's observation lounge, Walker stood with his crew watching Earth spin below them. The past 2 weeks had changed everything. The Confederation had not only accepted humanity, but had embraced their unique capabilities. Already, plans were being made to establish human rescue stations throughout Confederation space. Imagine that, Lisa mused, reading the latest messages. All those years trying to prove we weren't dangerous, and what finally did it was showing how dangerous we could be when protecting others. It wasn't about showing our strength, Walker corrected. It was about showing our heart. We proved that being a Deathworlder doesn't make us monsters. It makes us capable of helping those who need it most. Torres joined them, holding a datapad with their new orders. The Confederation wants us to start training their first joint rescue teams next month. Apparently, there's a waiting list of ships requesting human crew members. And to think, Tom added, it all started with one distress call. Walker smiled, watching as more ships arrived at the station. Confederation vessels coming to learn about their new allies. Below them, Earth continued its eternal spin. The gravity that had shaped humanity now recognized not as a curse, but as a gift to be shared with the galaxy. You know what this means? Walker asked his crew. More paperwork. The humans groaned in unison, while the watching Confederation members looked confused. Some things, it seemed, were universal after all. But first, Walker added, I believe Earth's gravity makes this the perfect place for a celebration. Let's show our new friends what a human party looks like, in full gravity. As the crew dispersed to make arrangements, Walker made his final log entry. Who would have thought that answering a simple SOS would change the galaxy? But then again, that's what humans do best. We help, we protect, and we prove that being strong means nothing without the heart to use that strength wisely.